Mother calls. I'm a college student still living at home. My mom always calls me down from my room at strange hours at night, usually to go help her with technology or something like that. This never really bothered me, but on this particular night, my mother sounded panicked. She yelled my name like something bad was happening. The lights suddenly didn't work around the house, so I ran and followed her screams all the way down to the dark hallway with nothing but my phone flashlight. That's when I found her in the middle of the kitchen hallway, flailing on the floor and slamming herself against the wall. The pictures on the wall fell down and broke on the floor. I looked at her face and saw this slug-like creature trying to crawl inside of her mouth. I tried to pull it out, but it was way too slimy and slippery. I let go and fell on the floor where there was a bunch of broken glass from the pictures stabbing my hands. Blood rushed down my hands as I saw the thing climb the rest of the way into her mouth, choking her. She violently shook and moved across the hallway, trying to get what little breath of air she had. I rushed to give her the Heimlich remover, but it was of no use. She went limp. I cried, telling her to wake up and not go, but she didn't. That's when I saw blood. When I moved her, there were little legs like a centipede stabbing her throat as a huge bulge in her leg was growing, looking like her neck was going to explode. Blood started to come out of her mouth and eyes. I jumped back and covered my mouth so it wouldn't crawl into my mouth. Suddenly, my mother jolts and starts shaking. As a pool of blood starts to grow around her, her legs suddenly flailed, growing longer and longer as her arms did the same. Her body splits into two as a very long spine grows between them. Blood pours out of every crevice of her body as she flails and jolts more and more. As I hear the blood pouring down on the floor and every bone in her body twisting and turning, breaking and snapping, she let out a blood-curdling scream. I covered my ears to block out the very loud screeching, and all of a sudden, she stopped. I slowly got up and tried to sneak away, thinking she was going to get up and run at me at any moment. I walked backwards, not wanting to turn my back on her. I stepped on one of the broken glass pieces on the floor. She snapped her head backwards, with her blood-covered face and her rolled back eyes looking straight at me. Before I even knew it, she quickly crawled and screamed in my direction. I ran to the stairs to get back to my room. As I was running up the stairs, she grabbed my foot. I managed to kick her hand away and run all the way to my room, slamming the door in her face. All I heard were her screams and her trying to break down the door. I saw all of her blood seeping underneath the door. I cried and cried, begging her to stop. The banging and screaming got louder and louder until there was a sudden stop. That's when I heard my mother's body fall to the floor. I got up and slowly cracked the door open, ready to close it at any moment. I saw my mother's mangled body. Her entire face was gone by her lower jaw. The strange thing is that her neck is open. All I think to myself is, where is it? All of a sudden, from right behind me, the slug creature jumped on me. I jumped and rolled trying to kill this thing, but it was too late. It was crawling on my head as it pried itself into my mouth. Its legs felt like razors cutting my tongue and lips as it wiggled around to make it easier for it to crawl deeper into my mouth. I tried to breathe, but I couldn't. I fell off the ground trying to pull it out, but it was too deep. I felt it clawing its way through my throat. I was feeling weaker and weaker from all the blood I was losing. I felt a tube going inside my head into my brain. My arms started shaking, twitching, and breaking, getting longer and longer as my legs did the same. I'm feeling both halves of my body being pulled apart. That's when I knew I was soon going to be with my mother. Goodbye, everyone. I found an online image generator. I typed into it, how am I going to die? It showed a picture of my room with my open computer on the desk. The computer clock read June 29th, 7:48 p.m. A chill went down my spine as I looked into that same computer in my real-life room. The clock read June 29th, 7:46 p.m.